Hey everyone, it's Alan Brochstein from Houston and New Cannabis Ventures, and I'm reaching out to you today to help catch you up with what's going on where I spend all my time, the cannabis sector. And this was a down week. There was some news, and I'll talk more about the price action after I share that. There were two big picture pieces of news. The first was Michigan finally released their December data. It was a little bit later than normal, but it was really good. It was up very strongly from November. And I know December has an extra day, which is worth about 3%, a little bit more than 3%, but it was up 9% sequentially. And the year over year growth was a little bit slower than a year ago, but it was still 32%. I say than a month ago. Sorry, in November, it was 33%, down to 32%. Very strong growth in the Michigan market. And then Canada came out and they released all their retail sales for November yesterday. And the cannabis portion was weaker than November, but a little bit better than expected. I'm sorry, than October. It was a little bit better than expected, but it fell 4.3% sequentially, which is a little bit more on a per day basis. It was down a little bit on a per day basis. And compared to a year ago, it was up 9.9%, a little bit better than the prior month, but that's not so good. It's a maturing market. And, you know, if you look at some of the data, it appears that flower is growing, where there's, you know, some pricing pressure, is growing a little bit slower than other products. But Canada still doesn't allow edibles to really take off. They limit the packages, not per serving, but per package. They limit it to just 10 milligrams of THC, which I think pretty much kills that market. So that was the big picture news. I did publish a piece on Steaking Alpha that was written over the weekend, the long weekend, and it was on Curaleaf. And I don't really have any problems with the company, but I do have a problem with its valuation, which I talked about in that article. And that article is linked in the weekly piece, which I will include a link to the article, and I'll put a link to that article as well in the summary of this video. I have a focus list of 31 names, and each week I share the big news. I don't think it was in any way big news for most of these companies. Columbia Care announced a cost-cutting plan, and I'll just add, Columbia Care is trading at a 34% discount to the deal ratio of 0.5579 times Cresco shares, trading a huge discount, unheard of. And I will also disclose I have Columbia Care in one of my model portfolios, and I added to it this week. I'm not so confident that the deal is going to go through at the price it's projected to go through at. It may get cut. Cresco has cut a deal price in the past, but I don't think they're going to cut it that much. And I do think it will close. And I do think the stock, if it doesn't close, is very cheap. And so that's just my own thinking on Columbia Care. GrowGen opened up a store in Michigan. This was big news, actually. I don't know why, but IIPR, Innovative Industrial Properties, released a Q4 update. And it talked about 3 tenant problems. Not the old tenant problem that they had in California, but 3 additional ones. One was Parallel. One was a Michigan company, and I'm forgetting the third one. And it didn't really break it out. I don't know why the market was down so much. And I did pick up on that BlackRock now owns 17.6% of the company. So, I saw BlackRock filing. I was like, uh-oh, they sold? No, they bought more. So I think, I don't own it in my model portfolio, but I think the stock looks pretty good. It's not my favorite REIT right now. I don't own any REITs. And I think there's such great bargains in the cannabis sector that I would steer towards those rather than IIPR. But if you like IIPR, it's near its 52-week low. And that's also, I believe, it's not a 3-year low. And the 3-year low was down near $40. So I think it could take some time to work it out, but I think the stock looks pretty good. The next one is Jushi. They opened up a dispensary in Virginia, another one. Planet 13 announced their 4th Florida dispensary location. Trulieve is doing something that Tilt Holdings has already done in many states, but they're bringing Ricky Williams Heisman cannabis products into Arizona. TerrAscend, this was kind of big news, I think. And by the way, TerrAscend's a client of New Cannabis Ventures, and we resurrected something from the past this week with TerrAscend, and that is doing webinars. And we published we published a video of the webinar with a written summary as well. But the news was that they are partnered with Wana Brands to introduce Wana Brands products into Pennsylvania, and they took over the manufacturing in Maryland I think from a very good company. I'm not sure, I tried to look into it to find out, was there a problem? I don't think so. And so nothing against Curio Wellness. I like that company a lot. It's a private company, but so TerrAscend's going to be working with Wana Brands. Who's Wana Brands? A big edibles manufacturer, and they're being acquired by some company. What is that company? Well, I say they're being acquired. They could be acquired. There's a deal to be acquired by Canopy Growth, and we know that Canopy Growth is very tied to TerrAscend. They own exchangeable shares. And then the last piece was also not that important, like some of the others, but Verano announced the opening of another Florida dispensary. So that was it. What happened to the market this week? Well, we were down in the global cannabis stock index 1.4%. Oh no, this was worse than, it was double the decline in the S&P 500, which was 0.7%. Oh no! So no, it's not an oh no. We are up year to date now. Let's see if I can find it. 9% in the global cannabis stock index, which is great, but not great compared to the huge loss of 72% last year. But it's nice. But the S&P's up 3.5%. So we're up over 2.5 times what the S&P 500 is up so far. Now, I will repeat my warning that if the S&P 500 goes into the bear market mode again, it's going to create problems for us, I fear. Okay, so that's the market, but what about my model portfolios? I introduced 2 new model portfolios. One was kind of like what I was doing at Benzinga, where I no longer am operating, and it replaced kind of both of them. And I call it Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index, so that people can figure out what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to what? Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index. Am I? Yes. It's for the week, it fell 0.9%. So that was better than the Global Cannabis Stock Index, which fell 1.4%. But year to date, it's up 19.2%. That's a little bit better than 9.0%. It's more than double. So yeah, it's working. And so that's that one. And then the other one's called a new one, and it was a little bit inspired by, I'm always often, not always, often negative, especially recently, on the large ETF that's getting smaller, MSOS. And a lot of people, that's their animal, and that's their horse, they ride it. And I've warned over and over that MSOS has some problems with too much concentration in the largest 5 MSOs by market cap. It's now 79%. And MSOS is down year to date. And I kind of blame 4 of those 5 MSOs, the large ones, are down year to date too. Cresco's up a little. And so beat the American Cannabis Operators Index, and also MSOS, that's not what it's called, has a goal of doing better, obviously than the global cannabis. I'm sorry, I called it the wrong thing. The American Cannabis Operator Index. And this week it didn't. It was down 5.3%, and the American Cannabis Operators Index fell 3.6%. I lost. But year to date, the model portfolio is up 7.9% versus 7.2% for the index. I'm winning. And that's not bad. If you multiply that out for the whole year, if that's how I end up the month, only up 70 basis points or 0.7%. If you do that for the whole year, it's a good year. And I have a great long-term track record in the global cannabis stock index of beating it regularly and strongly. Not so much in 2022. I barely beat it or lost to it. I don't know. I think I barely beat it. But it was a tie, really. And I told you I'm trying to beat MSOS. And I don't think that's going to be hard with that model portfolio. It's the same basic idea. MSOS has no index. But if they had an index, it would be like the American Cannabis Operators Index. But they don't measure against the index, and they point out all the problems with indices. I don't care. I really don't care about their problems with indices. The MSOS was down 2.3%. That was less than me, but it's now, I'm sorry, it was down 2.7% this week. But yeah, year to date, it's now down 2.3%. I just told you I'm, in my model portfolio, up 7.9%. 7.9% versus down 2.3%. That's pretty good. That's more than 10% gain. Okay, each week I share a calendar as well, and I'll conclude by just saying there's not much going on this week, and I'll leave it at that. So you have a great week, and we're going to not wrap up the month this week, but we're going to get close to it. The month will be wrapped up early in the next week. Take care.